Okay. So welcome to the, I'm Karen Brown, President of AAUW New Jersey, and this is our 2020 annual meeting. And I want to call our annual meeting of the American Association of University Women of New Jersey to order at 10:39 a.m. on June 27th, 2020. This meeting is being recorded. Since 1881, the mission of AAUW has been to advocate for women and girls. We are nonpartisan, but we are not values neutral. We fight to remove barriers and biases that stand in the way of gender equity. We train women to negotiate for pay and benefits and to pursue leadership roles. And we advocate for federal, state, and local laws and policies to ensure equity and end discrimination. We value diversity in our membership and strive to be inclusive. And we know all of these things are very important in the world, even more today than they have been always. So our agenda for today, we welcome all our everybody here, and we have reports about our membership, about our finances, and AAUW funds donations. We have the reports from, we'll be electing our new board of directors for the 2020-21 fiscal year. We have a report from the Charitable Trust. We'll hear about our statewide projects that we've accomplished in the past year. And we'll hear about branch and interbranch projects and the branch's accomplishments over the past year from all three districts. And then we'll take a look at what we're thinking about and planning for our future in the year upcoming. And if you have questions and comments during the meeting, if you enter them in the chat, then we'll be sure not to forget to get back to them. Maybe if it's a quick question, we can just answer it immediately as we're talking today. So first, I'd like to introduce our outgoing communications chair, who has also been doing a lot of the membership role. And this is Chevy Sahlberg, and she's stepping down as communications VP, but we want to thank her so much for all that she's done to keep us on track with her timely reminders and helpful hints of how to use our new digital tools. And she's also set up our online archives and helped move our organization into the digital age. Chevy, thank you very much. And would you like to present the membership report?
Yes, I would. Thank you. I hope everyone's staying safe and is in good health. And I'm excited to be here. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be presenting the branch anniversary awards for branches that have anniversaries in 2020, significant anniversaries, and also in 2021. And I'm going to go in alphabetical order within each year first. So for the benefit of people who aren't familiar with the structure, we have a northern district, a central, and a southern district, and we also have a virtual branch. So with the anniversaries coming up, the ones in 2020 are in the southern district, and the ones in 2021 are in the northern district, and the central do not have, the only branch that had a significant anniversary was Freehold Branch, which was the 50th anniversary, which has just passed. So, but we're going to be concentrating on the anniversaries that were from June onward to June of next year. So, the first one is for Garden State Branch. So I guess we can go to the next slide. And basically for Garden State Branch, we actually have 25 members now, and it's 10 years for the Garden State Branch. And Sally and Bev Kinney I know are on the call, so congratulations to you. And now I know that with our current situation, you really are becoming more of a virtual branch. You had the Zoom meeting that I participated in, since I'm a co-member in the Garden State Branch, and it should be exciting going forward. I'm not gonna, we could spend like 2 hours going through each branch's accomplishments, and talk about it, but we really, we would have to do that at another meeting. But I do want to point out that if you go to the website, I do have a branch located page and also a awards page. And if you click on the award, it'll take you to the branch's sites. So you can learn a little bit about the branches that are being honored here. So, and the next one is for the Gloucester County, and they have 34 members, and they're celebrating their 40th anniversary. And I believe we have President Jennifer on the, I hope she's joined us. So congratulations to you. And the next branch, now we're going to go to the 2021 awards. Okay, and the as I said, we're going to go in alphabetical order. So first we have Somerset Hills, which is 75 years. And we have
hold on, we're on the wrong slide then. This is Mountain Lake slide.
Oh, okay, then, yes, no, you're right, and I'm wrong. Sorry, it is Mountain Lakes is the next one. And that's 75 years, and there are actually 78 members. And that's actually been an increase, two new members recently. And congratulations to Mountain Lakes, but I don't think we have anyone on the line, on the call from that. And then Somerset Hills is 75 years, and Somerset Hills has 73 members. And congratulations, we have many Somerset Hills members on the call, and so congratulations to you. And next is the Summit Branch. And Summit Branch has 66 members, and it's 85 years. That's quite an accomplishment. And congratulations to you. And then we have a number of members on the line from Summit Branch. So, well, glad that you could participate. And then the last branch is Willingboro Area Branch that has 34 members, and 60 years is coming up. And Edwina and Gaylor are the presidents, and congratulations to you. So I guess the only other question is do we want the branches to get printed copies of the awards? Because I do have them on the website, and I can provide them to you. So if you want a printed copy, just contact us, and we will get you one if you desire one.
Chevy can also email you a copy of,
yes, I can,
your certificate if you would like that for your branch.
So, all right. And then, so congratulations to all the branches. And then we have one other report that I'm going to go over. And basically, National provides a report in February of every year, but I went in and looked at what the numbers were. So we've lost a few members this last year, both in the total branch members and the national members. We actually had a slight increase since February of 20 members. So we actually gained a few members. And the breakdown is, we have 407 members in the Northern, 393 Central, 359 Southern, and 25 in the virtual. So, that's the status now. We'll see what happens now with the renewals, which begin July. Membership dues are due the 30th of the month. And then we will, National probably will not remove the people from their database until November. So at that point, we'll know the actual final numbers. So
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder for everyone. If you haven't already, get your dues in. And thank you, Chevy, for wearing multiple hats here and helping us with our membership and communications and webmaster and Facebook post, social media guru. So we really appreciate your help, and we're glad you're going to continue on helping us. So thank you very much. And next, we're going to move on to our report on our finances, and our Finance VP, Becky Hughes, will let us know how we're doing. Thank you, Becky.
Okay, hi everyone. I just have 2 slides. The first one, the main message from this slide is you'll notice the shape of year-over-year dues collection is very similar. So we have a very repeating pattern. Generally, by the end of June deadline, when all the dues are supposed to be collected, we typically are more around 40–45%. So just because this is a very unusual year, I don't want anyone to think, oh no, we're in deep trouble. It's like, nope, just keep reaching out to your members and encourage them to renew. Because so far it doesn't look like we're breaking the pattern. I mean, at the moment, the number looks a little lower than the previous years, but that's because we haven't actually completed the month of June. So I think we just need to wait and see. And it's just a matter of just keep reaching out to your members and encouraging them to renew. The other thing I wanted to point about the dues collection is you will notice that there's been a gradual decline overall of how much we're collecting in dues. And the amount of money we collect is not precisely in line with the number of members, because not every member pays dues. And that's legitimate. There's certain members that do not have to pay dues. So with the amount of dues we're collecting, we're noticing a gradual decrease over time. So that's the 2 messages that, don't give up, keep encouraging your members to renew, because we typically don't get the majority until we're into the early fall, but just keep pushing ahead. So Karen, if you could move to the next slide. Okay, and then the second slide, this chart is showing the blue is how much cash in our checking account we're carrying over from the previous year into the next fiscal year. And then the orangey reddish color is the net income. So primarily dues, as well as sometimes we have event registration fees and so forth, less all the expenses we incur. So it's how much we have left over, and that gets carried forward as well. Since it was before my time, I don't quite know what the explanation is, why we seem to have done extra especially well in 2017, because we had a nice big jump there. And since then, we've been more or less holding steady. So that's on the whole good. Although the interesting thing to note is after having that nice boost in 2017, we actually spent more than we earned in 2018, but then we did better in 2019 and dropped down again in 2020. So it does kind of roll like that. But on the whole, we're kind of steady as she goes. The other thing I wanted to point out is because we've noticed the generally downward trend in dues collection overall, we are going to keep that in mind when we put the budget together going forward, because we have to be a little careful unless that trend changes. So those are the 2 messages I had for our overall finances.
Thank you, Becky, for your good stewardship of our financial resources. And we'll be looking forward to working with you another year. Next, we have Jane Niemeyer, who has been serving as our AAUW Funds Chair, and she'll give us a report on AAUW funds donations. Jane, you're still muted. There we go.
Oh, okay. Hi, Well, as you can see from these slides, I think you can see all the way down. The amount of giving over the past 2 years I've been doing this is relatively the same, 39,000 in 18 and 40,000 in 19. National puts the dues report out by the calendar year, January 1st to December 31st. So it doesn't line up with our fiscal year, but it's their year, so we go by report I have. In 19 rather, half of the funds that were collected went to the greatest needs. The rest went to different various funds. And they're broken down by LAF, Economic Security, Educational Opportunities, Nick Whistle, Leadership, Action Fund, Public Policy. But the majority is going to their greatest needs fund, which I know National has been requesting so they have a easier time spending money as needed. The funds are restricted, they can't use them for that purpose. So this year, at the first quarter, we've given a state $3,042. That's January to the end of March. But I don't know what's going to happen with what's been going on moving forward. So those that have been giving, thank you, and just keep on giving if you can.
Thank you, Jane. Okay. And I just wanted to mention at this point that we don't have oral reports from every board member, but I sincerely thank each and every board member for contributing their time and talents to keeping our organization going, and not only going, but changing and learning and getting better so we can continue to pursue our mission, especially in these rapidly changing times. Before we elect our new board for today, I also want to take this opportunity to thank our outgoing Executive Vice President, Jan Hall. And back when we could meet in person, she set up our board meetings at Forest Gate. And I wish that we could have had her set up more in-person meetings for us, but it didn't turn out that way. But thank you, Jan. Okay. And now we'll move on to the next item on our agenda. And we'll be hearing from more board members later on in the meeting. But our next item is our report from the nominating committee and the election of our board for 2020-21. So I guess calls for nominations for board positions have gone out throughout the year. And at the Fall Focus meeting, we've asked for self-nominations for through various emails, newsletters from the president, myself, and from the district coordinators. In the absence of a nominating committee, the board has appointed Mary Graves and Linda Harmon to serve in the role of nominating committee. And we thank Linda and Mary for agreeing to serve. Our board members serve 2-year terms with approximately half turning over each year. Our bylaws state that if a position becomes vacant during the term, a replacement may be appointed by the board. So you'll see some of these elections and appointed replacements when you see the final board for the 2020-2021 fiscal year. So now I'll ask Mary Graves to present the slate of officers on behalf of the nominating committee.
All right, thank you, thank you. Hi, everyone. So these are about the half of the officers, as Karen was saying, that would be elected on even years. The position are president, executive vice president, program VP, communications VP, and central and southern district coordinators. So this year, we will be electing people to fulfill another 2-year term for the next year's board. And these are, first, we'd just like to thank everyone who gave consideration to the positions and for the input that everyone gave. And these are the people that we'd like to thank and recognize as people interested in stepping up or remaining in these interesting positions. And so the candidates are, and I shall read them, Karen Brown for president, Linda Harmon for executive VP, Jackie McGinnis for program VP, Muriel Coker for Communications VP, Pat, and I got to say it right, Boroska for Central District Coordinator, and Jay Neumeyer for Southern District Coordinator. So Karen, at this time, if there's any other
Do we
nominations for the
do we
floor?
have any nominations from the floor? If so, please enter in the chat box. Hearing or seeing none, nominations are closed. Do I have a motion to approve the slate of officers?
Sorry, yes, then I so move that the nominating committee would like to put the slate in front, and I move that the slate of officers is approved as presented.
That's Mary Graves. And do I have a second?
Linda Harmon will second the motion.
Okay, Linda Harmon second the motion. Okay, and now we're going to try our very first Zoom poll, and we call for a vote on our slate of officers. I'm launching a Zoom poll, and you should see on your screen a question that you can answer, click yes or no, or abstain. And when we have a majority of the people attending, voting one way or the other, and we do, then we can end our poll. So I guess one more moment for people to cast votes. Okay. So at this point, we have 47 participants and 40 have voted. So I am going to end the polling since that's a majority, and let's see, one abstention and 39 people have voted to approve the slate. And now the majority of votes are cast for approval of the slate of officers for the 2020 to 2022 term. And I thank you to the nominating committee, and you are now disbanded. So thank you all very much. And thanks for voting in our first Zoom poll. Okay, now since we have a new board for the next year, I'm asked past president Sally Goodson to do the honor of swearing us in.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, hold on. Okay. And when Sally, after Sally reads the oath, if you would please, the board members, unmute yourself and respond with your name and I do, so that we can see your face pop up, so that we have other attendees can associate your face with your name. So thank you. Sally?
Thank you very much, Karen. Can you hear me? Because you must have me unmuted.
Yes, I can hear you.
But my face isn't coming up, so it's not.
I can see your face, Sally.
Okay, all right. Again, each person will be shown for their ID. So if each candidate will please raise your right hand, I'll administer the oath of office. Do each of you promise and affirm that you will administer the office to which you have been selected to the best of your ability in conformity with the bylaws and charter of the American Association of University Women?
I will.
I will.
If you start with Karen.
Okay, I'm Karen Brown, president, I do.
Linda Harmon, executive vice president, I do.
Jackie McGinnis, Program VP, I do.
Mariel Coker, VP of Communications, I will.
Becky Hughes, Finance VP, I do.
Secretary, I guess Couture is not on.
Nina Del Colo, AAUW Funds Chair, I do.
I'm sorry, I'm here.
Oh,
Karen.
Couture, sorry.
Sorry, I do. Okay.
Nina Del Colo, AAUW Funds Chair, I do.
Diane Crawford, I do.
Pat Baraska.
I do.
There we go. I do.
Jane Niemeyer, I do.
Edwina, are you on? I don't see Edwina on. But I know she's agreed to serve and she's continuing in the role.
And Marilyn?
I do.
Okay, I think that's everyone, and I want to sincerely congratulate each and every one of you and offer
Chevy.
our best wishes.
Chevy.
Oh,
yeah.
Chevy, webmaster.
Chevy Salberg, webmaster, I do.
Thank you.
Okay, again, congratulations, everyone.
Good, thank you. Okay. Next, we have a short report from the Charitable Trust.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And thanks everyone who has been interested in learning more about the Charitable Trust this year and using it for some of the ideas that you have for your branches and some of your activities. Just real quickly to remind everybody what a rare, unique resource Charitable Trust is for AAUW New Jersey. It is a trust specifically devoted to our mission and to help you as branches or to help the state achieve many of the programs and opportunities that you may have difficulty doing because of insufficient funds for the programs that you have. So just remember what our purpose is and how it ties into what you're doing today and what you might be wanting to do in the years to come. Next slide, please. This is just a screenshot of where we are today, and then another slide, just again, some highlights for the year. We just want to point out our main activities are to award grants, but also to make sure that we're transparent and let you know where the money is going to, that you've donated to the Charitable Trust. So first, congratulations to two counties, two branches that applied for awards. A long-standing Northern Ocean County branch project in collaboration with the Girl Scouts, which is a Be a Friend First anti-bullying workshop. It's been held, I forget how many years, but it's a wonderful thing for the Charity Trust to be able to support that. The second was Atlantic County branch for Teen Tech. As most of you know, this event was canceled, unfortunately, due to COVID, but the Charitable Trust has been committed to, they've approved the grant and it'll be carried over and fulfilled whenever that event may happen in the future. So the box over to the left-hand side is just a summary of the donations that we have to date. Remember that most of the money that the Charitable Trust has is unrestricted, and we think that that's a good thing, and that's what it's been for most of the time of its existence. And so we continue to get donations into that unrestricted fund. But just 2 years ago, the Charitable Trust was approved as being the AAUW fiscal agent for Tech Trek in New Jersey as the only AAUW affiliated 501c3 charity. And so we receive those funds, but it's really just a pass-through directly to Tech Trek. And so you'll see the donations year to date, fiscal year to date over on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, you'll see the amount of our current assets, and you'll see that the bulk of our funds are in the unrestricted pool. So we're just over $85,000. You'll also see that there's been building up not only the the funds from this year, but there was some carryover from last year, specifically in the Restricted Tech Track Fund. And so that's a good starter for that group when they're ready to roll next year, hopefully. And you'll see that for last year, over $12,000 was dispersed to Tech Track specifically, and it included $2,250 from the unrestricted funds through branch grants. And I can take any questions now, or we can go to the next slide and then maybe have ask if there's any questions. So just a few other things that this group did. It was an interesting project year for us because a lot of us were coming together for the first time, and we realized we wanted to try to streamline and make things as easy as possible for working with you to help evaluate your great opportunities and provide funds. So one of the things that we did was to streamline and simplify that Tech Track process, which before had been different branches would write a grant and ask for a certain amount of money. There's a lower level that a grant would be given to a branch as opposed to a bigger program. And we've made a decision to switch from what we've done in the past, and going forward, we will only be providing from the Charitable Trust one direct grant straight to Tech Track. It will be at a higher level than state projects are usually given. So it'll provide more money, and it's more efficient because the branches don't need to all apply and our grant committee doesn't have to look at all of them. It's really us working directly with the program. And I think that that's going to serve their needs in a more efficient and hopefully a higher level. The second thing is, I want to give a lot of credit to our team. After COVID hit and we realized just the devastation that it was, the Charitable Trust is sitting on a nice endowment, a nice fund pile that we would love to make sure that the branches in the state think, what can we do to help? And we wanted to encourage all of them to say, is there something that you wish you could do, something new, something novel, that helps address the difficulty? We all recognize how challenging this is. What can we do, the Charitable Trust, to help you? And we sent out a letter to all of the presidents and to the state board, just reminding you we're here. And any creative idea that you have, come talk to us, even if it's outside of our normal guidelines. Let's see what we can do to help. Another point is, we thought part of the issue is why are people not maybe making more grants? And partially, maybe we're not so well known in all the branches. And so we tried a little bit more this year to increase awareness through presenting at Fall Focus. And thank you to the district coordinators who helped get out that message to all of the branches. So give us ideas on other ways that you think that we can get the message out to all the branches. And obviously there's always a lot of internal work that we need to do to be better. And we've got a nice long list of what the next year's board will have to do, but it's all devoted to being as streamlined and as helpful as we can be to AAUW New Jersey to do what we need to do to fulfill our mission. And I'd like to thank the board, Mary and Jane, Judith, Jan, and Jackie. It was a fun year. I really enjoyed working with you all. Any questions?
I'm not seeing any in the chat box, so, but don't hesitate, people, if you want to type them in later or email Mary. She'd be happy to answer. And I do hope the Charitable Trust gets lots of requests for new projects coming up in 2020. We can't let money stand in our way. I think we have some great ideas to work on. So thank you, and thank you to the Charitable Trust Board for your support. Okay, so next on our agenda, I want to reach out to, recap our statewide projects for the past year, and thank Keturah Harris, who, even though, well, she's worn a couple hats this year, public policy chair and program chair. and along with our secretary, Jackie McGinnis, who's been very helpful in setting up our programs and carrying out our mission through our events and our programs and our meetings. I really appreciate how you've worked together to help us put on really mission-centered programs. So thank you, Keturah and Jackie, especially. And you helped us also connect with the wider community, the Alice Paul Institute, the Governor's Office on women's issues. And I think now Jackie would like to say a few words about the Fall Focus meeting, maybe some other events.
So let's go to the next slide. That'll be good for the moment.
Yeah.
I think that one of the challenges that we've had as a state is and as branches, is that as we have so many competing organizations and then just life in general, and of course now that we have this new normal of whatever normalcy is, of how do we keep our members connected while doing the missions of AAW. And I think that we have a great basis because I think we believe in the same things. It's just a matter of then now, how do we connect and carry them out? So one of the things that we did in the fall was to empower ourselves for 2020. That was the theme. I know that Keturah and Karen, they were working on, what kinds of programs we could have. And so we came up with this one. And so we talked to Marge Smith, who was the president, who is the president of Princeton Community Works, she works with a lot of nonprofit organizations. It was a really great time. I think those that went, that was really great tools. And if you see by the pictures, like one of them, we had to take pictures of that were just scattered about, and then just kind of figure out what that picture represented. And then on the right-hand picture, you see Marge is at the top. She's actually giving some instruction. But I think that it was good to kind of get us together, get our toolboxes going on, because I think that that was important so that we can learn how to connect with our membership. And then we also did something on SMART goals, which we'll continue to work on, of how to goal set and then to actually accomplish those goals. So I think that overall that if we can continue on this vein, I think we'll be a much more effective and engaging organization, which is where our goal is. And so, but it was good, and it was a good time. It was a great day. And, so we hope to, we don't know what it's going to look like in the fall, we can hope, but just know that we will all try to give something that would be very, uplifting and motivating, in these times. And of course, always looking for suggestions from members to make sure that we are providing something that you would love to participate in. So thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Okay, and now we have our statewide STEM program report, and Linda Harmon will give us this report since she was most involved in these STEM projects that were actually able to be completed.
Hi, thanks, Karen. Hello to
Can
everybody.
you speak up, Linda, please? Linda, you're
Sure.
very quiet. Thank
Okay.
you.
I'll move it closer. Sorry. Welcome to everybody. I'm glad you joined us today. Yeah, unfortunately, COVID did get in the way of most of us doing teen tech for the high school students. I think a couple programs were planned in the spring, and that didn't happen. However, we did squeeze in a tween tech at Stockton as its notes for 165 middle girls. I can't thank everyone enough for all the time that they committed to helping us out, especially in the southern area. Tech Trek. I don't know how to thank everyone that I know I personally worked with as being co-director for student selection.
We did, in fact, go through and across the state, we had 135 girls apply. 100 ended up being interviewed. I'm sorry, 135 were nominated, 100 were interviewed because they did apply. Thank you to all of the county chairs that I worked with, that Gail Davis, my co-director of student selection, I worked with to get through this process, and all of your patience and time. The girls were selected. They have been informed. They are excited. There are 60 of them across the state that plan to come next summer. So we will be having 2 cohorts next summer. It won't be just one. We will go through the process starting in the fall again to repeat for a second camp, the one we normally would have had in 2021 for 7th grade girls. So we will have 2 cohorts. The first cohort will go from July 18th to July 24th with just 1 day in between. And then the second cohort, the 7th graders, will come in July 25th to July 31st. So more than ever, there's 2 things that we really still need. And that is, 1, volunteers. And certainly we don't expect people to volunteer for both weeks. If you want to, that would be wonderful, but we understand. But if you can come down for a half a day and pitch in just to see a workshop or 2, that's so welcome. Anything you can do. I know a lot of you do help with gathering snacks across the state in so many different ways of things that we need. The other thing that we'll need is fundraising to be done across the state. We were actually almost $20,000 short for this year's camp. And of course, I've been notified by a couple of the grants, the banks, that they have postponed granting them, and whether they will again, we don't know. So anyway, so we would appreciate everybody's help and support in trying to do some fundraising for both camps next year. And I just want to give a shout out and thank you to Ann Marchesani, our camp director, for all she does, Claudine Keenan, our Stockton liaison and assistant camp director, and of course my co-director, Gail Davis. Thank you so much, and thanks for everyone's help.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Okay. Next, just a reminder of our recent first ever webinar. We had our presentation that was supposed to be at our April 18th annual meeting. Dr. Yana Rogers presented a feminist perspective on COVID-19 and care work. And we had 51 attendees, which we felt was a very good turnout of members and non-members. If you are interested in seeing the presentation, Chevy's put it on the website and you can watch the video. Also, there's a link to Yana's paper that describes the studies and the statistics that go along with backing up her conclusions. But overall, we recognize that care work is essential and often it's undervalued by society, especially monetarily undervalued. And that's why we started our AAUW New Jersey Values Care Workers Initiative to try and bring to the forefront that these are foundational and essential workers. Okay, so next, I'd like Linda Harmon, please, to introduce our projects that we did. We'll cover the branch projects by districts. So we'll hear from each of our district coordinators. But first, Linda has an overview of statewide, what was common among all the branches.
Okay, thank you. Again, welcome back. Let's see, what I did is I realized that when we were meeting to kind of plan this whole meeting out, that there were commonalities across, as Karen was saying, across all the districts across the state. It's amazing how much money was raised for scholarships for young women, which supports our mission statement of supporting education. So that was kudos to everyone again across the state. Thousands were raised in scholarships. I just addressed Tech Trek Camp, and so we don't need to talk about that again. And then our newer thing across the state was an equity project, which I think is still in the works, but where branches give back to their local community centers. And we focused on our frontline healthcare workers, especially those in long-term care facilities. And I believe that you'll hear of one group in the Northern District that has now carried theirs out. So maybe that would inspire and give some ideas to others of you listening today.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up, Diane, would you like to talk about the Northern District accomplishments?
Sure. The Somerset Hills branch took on the Values Care Workers Project, and this took place on June 22nd, where they distributed enormous amount of goodie bags to staff members at the Fellowship Village Senior Living in Basking Ridge. And this was as a gesture of our recognition of all of their contributions to the well-being of their residents. We salute the Somerset Hills branch for taking on this project. This is a state project that many branches as well within all of the districts could participate in. But I want to say kudos to the president and co-presidents and all of the Somerset Hills branch members. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. From Central District, Pat Baraska, would you like to talk about some of the projects from Central District? Let's see.
Unmute me.
There we are.
Okay. We've been very busy here in Central District. We have 5 major branches, and activities have continued throughout the district. I do want to mention a few special projects that we've been up to in Central District. Ever since in 2019, when we did do the AAUW New Jersey trip to Seneca Falls, we had so many branches throughout the state represented with members that participated. But after that, we've done individual projects, and each branch, I'm going to ask for 2 particular branches to give us a little information on projects that they've been involved in. First, I think I'm going to ask a Northern Ocean County branch representative, Alice Tarlick.
Hi, Pat. Yeah, sure. Yeah, just wanted to recommend that instead of doing our newsletter, we kept people informed every couple of weeks with a newsy note, and they really liked it. They felt involved that way. And the other thing Pat has up here is the place that we meet is called Willow Springs, and it's like a nursing home, and they have been very good to us. So we wanted to respond, and all of our members sent in some donations, and we put it together. One of the local restaurants that I knew helped us to give them a whole big hot meal for the 95 workers there. And we've done other things to try to support them. In fact, recently we took over hundreds of snacks because vendors won't fill the machines and they really missed them. I thought that was funny. So, yeah. So
I liked your ice cream truck idea too.
Yeah.
The other thing, Alice, I believe that you were doing in Northern Ocean was considering some virtual trips for the fall in conjunction with the 100-year celebration on suffrage.
Yes, September was supposed to be our suffrage meeting. And since we can't really meet, we'll have a virtual meeting. And I have learned that the Alice Paul Institute has a virtual tour. So we can have our members look at that, and then we can meet and we'll do some kind of suffrage discussion based on that. And then later in the spring, we can actually go out there.
Good. And I'd also like to bring attention to another special project that Northern Monmouth County branch had administered to in the fall. And I'm going to ask for a member, Marion Wattenberger, if you could chime in on that project and what we did there in Northern Monmouth.
Do we have a slide on it? No, okay. We don't have a slide for that one, but yes. Marion on the call?
Yes, and
Yes, here we are.
I
Okay,
just unmuted myself, so.
good, very good.
I think the program that Pat wanted me to speak to was a collaborative project with the Northern Monmouth County branch, the League of Women Voters in Monmouth County, and the T. Thomas Fortune Cultural Center, which is one of 2 African-American historic sites in the state of New Jersey, national sites. It was a collaboration about the suffrage movement entitled Suffragists Speak, the Fierce and Flawed Battle for the Vote. And there was a particular focus on the struggle for African-American women to achieve the vote. Because it wasn't until the Voting Rights Act of 1964 that actually happened for them across the country. And a group of us got together, we researched, we wrote the scripts, and then we actually took on the roles of Susan B. Anthony, Frederick Douglass, Ida B. Wells, Alice Paul, Carrie Chapman Catt, and Fannie Lou Hamer, who gave her famous speech in Atlantic City in 1964. You probably recognize that Alice Paul was also in New Jersey, and so it's not only a national issue, it touched on New Jersey as well. And I have to say, it is the only time in a long life that I have performed to a standing room only crowd. We performed at first at the Eastern Branch Library. Karen was there, Pat was there, thank you for being there. But it was so well received that it actually was rescheduled a second time, and then COVID-19 struck. But we are now scheduled to do a virtual performance for the League of Women Voters in August, and that actually will be a fundraiser that will also be shared with AAUW, I'm happy to say. And we have applied to do it for the New Jersey Historic Commission Conference this fall. So we are looking for ways to, having prepared the script, we're willing to share it. And it is a gripping story, and I thought I knew a lot about suffrage and discovered there were many things I didn't know. So if you're interested, I'd be happy to share information about it with you, and also share with you when the virtual performance will be. Thanks.
Thank you, Marion. So AAUW Central District has been quite busy, and we are looking forward to additional projects in the fall.
Great, thank you. I don't know if you want to say anything about the other branches.
All the other branches have been continuing their donations. They're trying to stay active in their community. There's been some limited meetings on Zoom, and we're looking for towards the fall to see what additional projects we can be involved in, especially as a central district, and also to work with the other districts throughout the state and sponsored AAUW New Jersey programs.
Great. Thank you, Pat. Okay, Southern District.
I want to just thank everyone for allowing me to be your representative in the Southern District for the past 4 years. And I look forward to passing the torch to Jane Niemeyer, and we'll be there to help her in any way I can and to serve in another capacity on the board. Really, the Southern District has been doing many of the same things that you've now heard for Central and Northern. Again, to reiterate, everyone I think has worked on their donations and their scholarships. Many are hosting Zoom meetings, and these were just a couple that I picked out of the Southern that were shared with me that I thought might be of interest overall to the state. In our current political climate, it was interesting that Atlantic County has started a new interest group called For a More Equal Society. It's being well met. Many women are participating, and it's a group, as it says here, that was formed to explore ways to recognize and correct the structural inequalities of our society centered around race. They're now reading the book How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram Kendi, and their meetings are through Zoom, and they're continuing to have discussions. and relevant podcasts and videos, but that is going very well. And then they have also started again the STAR program in Atlantic County, which is Sisters Together Against Racism, and they do similar activities. In Willingboro and Medford this past spring, they were able to squeeze in before we were all told shelter in place. A wonderful Women's History Month meeting on working women of World War II, and the Willingboro branch welcomed them, all the Medford branch members, with corsages, which I thought was really nice. Their guest speaker was Madge Palace, and I want to thank Edwina for sharing this with us. But again, as Pat said, lots of stuff going on throughout Southern, and so keep up the good work. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda. As a statewide organization, we've accomplished quite a bit over the past year, despite the challenges that we've had with the pandemic, and maybe even some of our accomplishments were better because of the challenges that we've forced us to do things in a new and different way. And the current situation with racism awareness and the urgency of combating racism has led us to focus our emphasis more on combating racism. So we especially in the future, we look forward to more opportunities to promote these programs that we've just heard about, the Suffrage in Black and White program, and also the more equal society interest groups that are forming. I think these will be a very important part of our future programming. And in order to help us be more efficient in the future and be more engaged and energized, I've called for a strategic plan task force that I'm organizing, and Marilyn Gagno has agreed to chair. She's our current bylaws and parliamentarian chair, and she's very good at organizing groups and understanding our board structures and committee structures, communication structures. Mary Graves will also serve on our core committee of the task force, and Marielle Kolker, our communications chair, along with Jackie McGinnis, who will be executive vice president for this in this term. And she has all kinds of great new ideas of projects and collaborations. I think that the goal of the task force will be to seek a specific set of objectives so that we can focus our energy and achieve great things. So I thank Marilyn for agreeing to chair and contributing her organizational and leadership skills to our organization. And thank you to the current members of the task force. I think we'll probably be adding 1 or 2 more members as over the summer, and then you'll hear from them. I'm sure every member will hear from the task force about how we can better utilize your talents and what you would like to see us doing and how we can help shape a better future. So thank you. Even before our task force finishes the work, I wanted to say there's several things that we know will be included in our future programming. Special thanks to our diversity and inclusion chair, Edwina Sessons, for her ongoing consultation and reminders about how we can be anti-racist. As mentioned, we're seeking these opportunities to collaborate with other groups, and Edwina has some suggestions and ideas for collaborating with the NAACP on get out the vote opportunities for the fall, which will be very important this year. And we also collaborate with the New Jersey Women Vote 2020 initiative that Pat mentioned, that I think it was Pat, that will be putting on programming related to the 19th Amendment at 100 years and suffrage, women's suffrage. Um, Thank you to Carol Cohen, who introduced us to the New Jersey Women Vote 2020. And also, Carol introduced us to our Woman as Agent of Change awardee. We would have presented the award at the April 18th meeting, and we didn't include the presentation today because, as you can see, the meeting's gone very long. So we will plan to do this presentation most likely in the fall, and we look forward to hearing from Dean Litt. Dean Jacqueline Litt is Dean at Rutgers Douglas Residential College at Rutgers University, I guess it's now called, and she's had interesting innovations in incorporating women's issues at Rutgers as part of the Big Ten League. So we'll be sure to look forward to that presentation. Okay, so finally, before we leave today, and just before we wrap up, I wanted to invite Sally Goodson back to speak. She has a new initiative for idea for a STEM program for girls, and also a Title IX initiative that AAUW New Jersey members may well want to pursue. So Sally is leader of our Garden State virtual branch, and
I'm back on?
Back on.
Okay. I have to tell you that my wonderful cleaners are here and they do such a beautiful job at my house, and every once in a while I say, turn off the machine. So right now the machines are off, and I thank them. For some of you, is that number up? Yes. Okay. You see on the bottom where it says YouTube esports, and I just encourage you to write down, it starts with HTTPS and finish that off. Now, if for any reason you don't do that and you're not sure what I'm talking about, just email me and I'll send that back to you, because I'd like you to watch that video. We're not going to do it here, but if you watch the video, I think you'll be interested. And if you don't copy that, you can get a hold of me at sally.goodson@verizon.net, and I will send that. You put it in the center.
We can put it on our website also, or our Facebook page.
Okay. It'll also be, you just put that in the center of a email to yourself, and then you can click on it and it'll go right to the YouTube. Okay. When I see something like this virus, I'm looking at possible, lots of things were going not the way we would like, but I also think that when some things go wrong, you look for opportunities to turn that around. And when I noticed that Teen Tech was closing down and Tech Trek wasn't going to happen, I was pleased to hear that you did do Tween Tech. I was looking to see if there was some other way that we could encourage girls to be involved in high-level opportunities using the internet. And so there's a group out there that does sports, and what the sports athletes are mainly involved is like football, soccer, golf, baseball, high school, and that's fine, except now there's a new sport out there and it's called esports. And we don't have that in New Jersey, in the colleges, and we don't have that in the high schools. And yet I'm seeing it in other states, Pennsylvania, not a lot of states, but a lot of colleges. So let me talk about it just for a moment. And if you're interested in it and you watch that thing, then get back to me. What does this e-sport encourage? It encourages communications. It coordinates among student athletes. It's playing computer games, and that's why I want you to watch it, with students and it deepens their level of interaction and communicate more effectively. It readies them for later life. In terms of education, it offers scholarships and it helps students pay for college. Nowadays, close to 200 nationwide colleges are offering esports programs for students, just like they offer scholarships for football. This creates a new viable path to college for those who may never have considered obtaining a higher education. I know of only a couple of high school programs in New Jersey. There are no leagues in New Jersey, but in other states there are. And this is a perfect opportunity for girls. Lots of young high school students are doing this locally, just in their school. And I noticed that a lot of them are males and a few girls. So that there's a huge opportunity for the girls. Now, who would participate? The sports teachers' participation may have relevant skills such as streaming, leadership, team building, production, programming, and management. And many teachers already are mentoring clubs in their school. I'm not talking about leagues, clubs, such as the teachers that are running robotics clubs. That's the teacher that I would want to talk to. And they could be a great resource to reach out for starting a high school team league. One relatively quick way to implement esports is by writing STEM grants for funding curriculum and equipment. I will tell you, it's not a lot of money to sponsor these teams. And my hope is that we could sponsor a team, and I would try to do it up here with Sussex, in Sussex County. If you look at that YouTube address, I have shown, I think you'll, and are interested, let me know. The inter-college esports competition is in many colleges and high schools nationwide, but I see none in New Jersey. I believe that AUW could showcase this here first. And so I'm looking at the Sussex County Community College, which is an AUW College Connection school, the public high schools up here, and Sussex County Tech. I also would like to get involved with the Rotary clubs. I'm the incoming president for the local Rotary, and also for those that are up in this area, Thor Labs. Who could help out? The Charitable Trust, of course, the Sussex County branch, the members of Crystal Springs, and anyone else in the state that would like to keep on top of this really new initiative where AUW could be first in New Jersey.
Very good, Sally. We'll put the links up where people can find that to see.
The link is in the chat right now, actually. I just put it in the chat.
Great.
So don't all go watch it now, but you can at least copy it or open it if you click on chat.
Yeah, if you all can open your chat box, you can then copy paste it out of the chat. You can enter questions.
If I confused you enough, just watch that video. You'll get it. Then ask me the questions.
It's like a football team only, or a robotics team, except what the kids are playing is video games. And it could be video games that they've programmed or that, but there's real teamwork involved in the competition, which is part of the huge value.
They're finding that students stay in school when they know that this program is after school.
Oh, that's good. I'll also say that it can be it sounds like it can be a road toward attracting girls to computer science.
Yes.
Right, because I know at CCM in particular up here in Morris County, they have all their students come into computer science wanting to code computer games. They want to get a degree in computer programming so they can code computer games, and they turn them into cybersecurity analysts, which is not a terrible thing.
And actually, the money that is ready for them after college, even after high school, if they're coders, if they're coders, and we need coders in this country, and half our population are girls, and they're not involved.
And there's a problem. The video, the percent of boys doing it is still way higher than girls, which is why this is an AAUW project idea.
It's actually a wonderful idea, Sally. Thank you, because part of the problem with having a disproportionate number of men in coding for these games is that the games they can have misogynistic characteristics, and they're not really written for girls. And so the more women that are in it, the better for everybody.
They're also doing a lot of combination of, a lot of the games, if they do it with just education and the kids are bored with it. So there's a way of moving those games that look violent to us maybe, but moving them so that they're educational. So, but you have to keep the kids involved, and it's the future.
Great. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now it's time to wrap up, and I can say I'm really proud of all that we've accomplished this year, and give yourselves a round of applause. You've really done a lot of great things this year throughout the state, and we're looking forward to next year and our new initiatives and new energy from implementing our strategic plan and trying to find ways to get new people and new collaborations, new members involved. So at this point, I think I will adjourn our official annual meeting, but we'll open the floor up for questions and comments. And if you'd like to let us know, so meeting adjourned at 11:50 a.m. And I think at this point, I should also probably stop recording. Hopefully the chat will still save. I guess I can keep recording. It'll just go long. Okay, I'll keep recording. So how did we do? What did people think of our first town hall Zoom meeting?
You have some chat questions.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you look at, I guess one is in question for the ice cream truck for the COVID workers.
Alice?
Yeah, I think
Carla,
that
are
was
you-
me. We looked up a local truck called Peaches and Cream, and I would say it hasn't happened yet. We're going to do a hot day in July, but probably going to run about $300. And you can just Google ice cream trucks near you and call them up.
Okay.
I know where my parents lived. It was always popular when the ice cream truck came. Let's see here.
There's a question from Chevy on plan for a new branch, Mercer Atlantic, maybe.
I don't know anything about it. Does anybody? Central District, I guess that would be. Does anybody know anything about plans for a new branch?
I haven't heard anything.
No. It's certainly something our strategic plan team might think about, whether branches could be combined or how. I mean, the charge of the strategic plan team is to look at what our role is as a state with relation to national, with relation to branches, with relation to other organizations, and how we collaborate with each other. So we may have some recommendations for new structures or new lines of communication, something to think about. And Jackie asked about partnering with Girls Who Code, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, there's several partnerships that are in the community. So when I went on the map to look to see, because that can be sponsored by community organizations, so that if there is one that's in your area, it could be you connect up with a local chapter there and maybe help them strengthen their already organizations. So that could be something. Especially, right, if we talk about e-games, esports, and all of that, you know, coding is the future, being able to understand computers, literacy, what you can do with it. So I think that that might be worth something to, and again, we're networking. So it just kind of brings that out. So that I think would be excellent if we can.
Yeah, that's better. We can see each other more.
I have a question.
Yes, Leslie?
Hi. Hello, everyone. This has been a wonderful meeting. I am the program chair of the Summit Branch, and I have been looking for a way to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment on the date, August 26th. That's a Wednesday. And I believe it's Marion Wattenberger, is that correct, who just spoke about Northern Monmouth, had a program that sounded wonderful. And I wonder if that could possibly be done again for, on August 26th for all of the members of AAUW New Jersey. We could tune in and we could, on Zoom, and we could see that. Would that be possible?
It's Marion, and
Hi, Marion.
Hi. In fact, I think I mentioned that in August we have been asked to do for the League of Women Voters the program virtually, and it's very close to that date. I don't know that the date is settled, but I would think that if it is, it would be possible to make that a joint AAUW League of Women Voters. I see no reason why that isn't possible,
Right.
as long as there's sufficient bandwidth to do that. So I will speak to the person who's organizing that on behalf of the League of Women Voters and ask her about just making it a bigger event. And it was intended to be, if not on the actual date, very close to it. If that can't happen for some reason, I'm perfectly willing to ask my colleagues in this project if they would be willing to do it twice in August. So let me just make sure, Leslie, you're the one who asked the question.
That's right, and I'm in the Summit Branch.
Okay.
But perhaps we could find out how we can get each other's email addresses.
Right. I'm happy to put it in the chat room if that makes it easy. The other thing is, Karen, is it possible for us to go through you to communicate about this? I can go ahead and put my email in the chat room. I don't mind doing that. I just have to remember how to do it. Let me just think a minute here.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Yeah, and thank you.
That's an excellent idea.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Did you say something?
Oh, I said that was an excellent idea. Sorry.
Oh, thank you, Jackie.
Leslie and Marianne, I just wanted to hop onto that. My name is Anjali Mehrotra, so I'm also a member of Summit College Club and the Summit branch of AAUW. But my other hat that I wear is I'm also the state president for NOW. And I would love for NOW to be part of that as well. So maybe we can do something in partnership with League of Women Voters, AAUW, and NOW for all the women of New Jersey.
It'll be a major event in New Jersey.
Huge. Okay, let me, who was the last person who spoke to me? I'm sorry, I was typing in my email. So who was it from the Summit branch who?
Anjali Mehrotra, can you put on your video?
Oh, I see the name.
Yeah,
okay, I got
one
it.
second.
Okay. There she is.
Here I am.
Hi, Anjali.
Hi, how are you?
I just typed my email address in the chat room.
Thank you.
And I had it, it should be to everyone. So you should be able to see it now.
Yeah, I'm going to throw mine in there too so you can get it.
Oh, great. Okay. And I will, Karen, I'll stay in touch with you about this too, because this is now might take on dimensions that beyond what we'd originally, but the thing I wanted to say is the group that did this seems very committed to sharing it and sharing it with other groups. So I think they probably will just be excited. The question will be, I think sometimes there's limitations on Zoom meetings, and so it's that kind of thing. That's not my area of expertise. So I'll see what I can learn and get back to you for sure.
Well, also may I say that we did something very similar to this. Anjali worked on it. Janice Harris-Jackson worked on it. And if you need some others to be involved in any way, we can communicate, and I may be able to find some folks.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see another question in there on pay equity. So yeah, that sounds good with the state, whether we have someone from state or whether we have someone else from AAUW to speak on that. That would be awesome. One of the things that we were looking at was before the COVID, we were going to be working with the Alice Paul Institute, and I was going to give a Work Smart presentation on it. So that might be something that I think that as we look at the missions, I think this platform, the virtual platform, lends itself, I think, to a greater reach. So I think that that's a really good possibility. And any other subjects that you want to cover. So the plan would be to sometime in July to put out a Google form so that we could get feedback from members to find out what it is that they would like to see or what kinds of things that we could reach out to our members on, you know, regarding the mission, whether it's pay equity, work smart, how to do interviews, you know, whatever else that we need so that, you know, we could reach our members, because that's really what we're trying to do, is how do we help these women out there. I don't think so.
That's the bell.
Somebody's calling. Okay.
That
reminds me, though, we need to know when, one question we're asking everybody what you want to hear about. We also would like to know when you would like to hear programs. What's good time of day, weekend, weekday, day, night, or, you know, we're trying to reach as wide an audience as we can. And when we ask about, you know, are you interested in something, also maybe when you are likely to be able to attend.
So I'll put that in the questionnaire also. And then a lot of times too, because we are virtual, or more so, when you have branch meetings, are you open to other people from in the state to attend? You know what I mean? So that we can see what other branches are doing. And so that could be as they're doing the book studies or the book readings or the other discussions and conversations, that while it is obviously, you know, you want to connect with your branches, well, if there's a possibility of other people coming on board, would you be open to that also?
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Any last, Carol Cohen.
Yeah, I think in these trying times, you should be open to everyone coming, because it's not costing you anything to do anything virtually, and it might attract members.
Absolutely.
I think, and you know, obviously a lot of people have nothing to do, so going on to Zoom is really good, but if there's some good meetings, you're really going to attract people.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Marion?
The one thing that we said at the end of the program about the suffragists was to vote. And so again, I think related to the programming, which is also very apropos of a number of things that we are looking at with new eyes now is just to emphasize that. And why I hope this works out, that we can collaborate on the program.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Thank you for that reminder. Yes.
Can I also remind people to make sure they fill in the census and remind everybody around them if we don't take the money into New Jersey, it just goes to another state. You're not saving anything by not filling it out. So please, 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 it's a 10-year difference. If you don't fill it out, we lose a lot of money per town for 10 years.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay. And thank you, Jackie, for putting together our slideshow for today, making a very neat presentation for us.
I do have one comment. I've been kind of just sitting back. I'm glad someone did bring up the question about the census. People need to also be aware. I come from a town where I have a shared zip code. So my ballot came in with the predominant town as my town. So I had to go and have a correction done, because if I had not done that, then the funding would go to the other town and not mine. So people really need to look at that census and make sure that all of their information is correct. Don't take it for granted that, if you live in XYZ's zip code, that money is going to go to your town directly. It could wind up going to some other place.
Interesting. Okay, thank you.
This is Diane. I wanted to say that as a member of the Advancement Committee, I would be honored to attend any branch meeting that I can according to my work schedule. And I would also like to invite any of the branch members, presidents, co-presidents, if you have anything you'd like for me to address to the Advancement Committee, please, please, please do so. I would be more than happy on behalf of your branch to bring something to the Advancement Committee.
Diane, it's Mary. Could you please just explain the entire scope of the Advancement Committee?
Okay, the Advancement Committee consists of two teams. One comprises of membership engagement, which I'm on that part of the committee, and the other committee has to do with fundraising. Right now, just to give you a little update, Kimberly Churches has also joined the Advancement Committee because she's replacing Kendra Davis, who left AAUW, and they are not entertaining replacing Kendra at this time, budget concerns and other things. So Kimberly is part of our committee. My role is to maybe stay more in touch with the branches. Recently, I had the opportunity to chat requests by the Advancement Committee to make branch calls, and I've made some with, I think it was Northern Ocean, I believe, Somerset Hills, Medford, and two other branches, one in Oregon and one in Illinois. So it's an opportunity to reach out to the branches. We need your feedback. We need your ideas so that I can be your state representative as well as national to bring it to their attention. Any issues, concerns you have.
Thank you, Diane. Yeah, I guess I was negligent not to introduce you as a member of the state national committee and our liaison with National AAUW during the body of our meeting. So thank you for mentioning it now. And I apologize again for not saying that sooner.
Thank you.
Okay. So I guess we've had a very productive meeting today, and I want to thank everyone for attending, and we'll wrap it up. And anytime, email AAUWNJ@gmail.com, and I will pass messages along. Somebody's always monitoring that. It'll be Marielle and soon taking over from Chevy and myself. So Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
It's good to see everyone.
Hey, goodbye, everybody. Good to see everyone.
Thanks. Goodbye.